All right. Good morning, everyone. This is Marie Bellin. Can you guys hear me okay? Fantastic. And I just want to make sure, are you guys seeing the slide that says week 4 live lecture? Okay. Alan says yes. Okay. Everyone else is good with that? All right. Brittany says yes. So there's a bunch of yeses coming in. Perfect. Um, and has everyone here been attending the live lectures or watching the archives today? Live lecture. I recognize some of your names if you're in my class, and then I recognize a few names from Emily Green's class as well. Mostly archives. Okay, perfect. So I'm assuming that you guys know who I am. Awesome. So I'm not gonna take any extra time today introducing myself. But can you guys believe it's week 4 already? It's just, this is how it is here at Full Sail. Just the month goes by really fast. And I know a lot of students, it's just one deadline after another, more, information after another. And then before you know it, you'll be graduating. Yes, it does. Edgar said time flies, and oh, yes, it does. So I hope you've learned a lot about yourself these past 3 weeks, like what your play personality is, your signature strengths, how you find your flow, how to train your brain, maintain your motivation, enhance your creativity, and improve your overall well-being. And that's not even everything that we've gone over this month. So I hope that those are some of the core things that you've learned. And to, oh. So today we're going to talk about the golden circle, the ABCDE model, and ways that we can manage our stress. And I'm hoping that we'll have time to go over the week 4 quests, or at least I can take some of your questions about the quests. So by now we all know that balancing work and play can be hard. For one, it's because of all the responsibilities and obligations that we have, and two, because of all the life stressors we encounter. So what are some of your life stressors right now, besides school, of course? Work, okay. Wendy and Edgar said work. Alan said moving and a new job. Congrats on your new job, Alan. Edgar said balancing everything. Yes, a lot of us, I know that a lot of you guys are, in addition to school, are also working. You also have families. Who here has kids? Edgar said he has children. Brittany has one. Wendy has two. Yeah, so on top of all of that, I mean, we're just trying, that's everything that can add to your plate. And sometimes, it just takes a toll on us, and we don't want to do anything but sit on the couch. I know sometimes when I've had an especially busy day or a busy week, I just need a few hours to kind of just veg. And so most of you in your industries will will, once you get into it, will really contribute to a lot of your stress. So having the ability to manage your actions and emotions is going to be really important to your success. Alexander, do dogs count? Yes, I think they do. I mean, sometimes dogs and pets really, in some ways they're lower maintenance, in some ways they're higher, because you can't just, if you go on vacation, you can't you can't just take them sometimes, and then you have to find somebody to take care of them. So what's interesting about stress is that it's driven largely by our own perceptions. Usually these perceptions involve us thinking that something is not right or something's not fair, that it's out of our control and thus it's stopping us from attaining our goals. So today we are also going to talk about how to manage some of our actions and thoughts so our lives and careers can be less stressful and more balanced. Edgar said there's good stress and there's bad stress. Exactly, yes. But it's also how we look at things, and that's how we identify what's good stress and bad stress. So to start, we're going to think about our own core values and how they play a role in our perceptions. So I want you to think about what's important to you for a moment. I want you to consider what is important to you at your core. Consider the definition of value when you're thinking about what is most important to you. A value can be a standard of behavior, like what, in your opinion, is most important in your life. This could be something of worth or usefulness, a principle, or even quality, or even quality of something. Some examples of the common core values are respect, freedom, choice, and independence. Sometimes it's not always easy to identify what we value. I know for a lot of students, and even people that aren't in school anymore, it can be really a difficult process. So here are some things to think about during while you're reflecting. Alexander said, just like there's good and bad cholesterol, right? So what turning points have you experienced in your life? These are powerful moments that had a decisive impact on you. Which values have grown from those experiences? Which of your values have been strengthened through those experiences? Which values were challenged or even changed? Beliefs. What do you believe to be true about your life? What are your priorities in life? And which sayings and quotes do you really like? A lot of times that really gives us insight into our values. And then lastly, one thing that really helps narrow down this process is when you think about what triggers your anger. What's going on right now in the world or maybe around you that makes you angry. If things are coming to your mind, it's probably because you value them. For instance, if you value freedom, you become frustrated or angry or sad when freedom is restricted. If you value acceptance, then you're angry when you hear stories of discrimination. Another exercise is to ask yourself, which values would you like to pass on to other people that you care about? Or what do you want to be remembered for? I know as a mother, there's something that's really important for me. Um, Growing up, my parents didn't talk about emotion a lot. Um, my parents were kind of like old school. They're very typical of Asian parents in their generation, where they showed their love but didn't tell their love. I knew they loved me because they provided for me. There was nothing I didn't have that I didn't need. And I knew they loved me because they made sure that I strove to do well in everything I did, and they supported me. They taught me the value of hard work, how to be kind, and to do the right thing. But when I was a kid, they just didn't say I love you, like ever. So now that I have kids of my own, I make it a point to tell them that I love them and that I'm proud of them. And it's very important to me that my kids know this and feel this. James said acceptance is a big one, is a big value for him. Edgar said he relates with what I just said about tough love. Yes. Wendy says she had a rough life as a child, so a lot of your values really probably come from that experience. And Alexander said, acceptance is what I strive for. Not a lot of people out in the world are too accepting of folks on the autism spectrum. Yeah, they may see you as different, and so they already box you in, and assume things about you because of that label. And it shouldn't be that way. I agree, Alexander. Brittany said she grew up with a rough life as well, and that impacted her values. Yeah, we all are impacted by things that experiences that we've had, right? And some more than others. There are some experiences that we've dealt with that really impact who we are as a person. And yeah, everybody has the ability to be a great person, Alan. Alan said he knows autistic people that are great people. And I believe that, like I just said, everybody has the potential to be a great person. When he said people judge me because I'm gay, but I'm the same person that I was, just men and women. Yes. Thank you for sharing, guys. I really appreciate you guys putting yourself out there, because these are what you're sharing are personal things, and we all learn from each other, so I really appreciate that. Vincent, yes, you are, Vincent. You're in my class. You're in the right class. All right. So now that we have some idea of what's important to us and what we value, this is going to help us identify our why, or our purpose for doing what we want to do. And this really ties into what Daniel Pink was talking about in week 3 about our purpose. Remember that? So we're going to watch a video of Simon Sinek, and he's going to talk to us about the golden circle. And some of you may have already watched it, but now that we've kind of touched a little bit more on values, you may be able to take something more out of this video, and maybe give you a clearer picture of your why. So give me a second. I gotta change the screens. Right. I gotta unplug.
I made it, and this discovery profoundly changed my view on how I thought the world worked, and it even profoundly changed the way in which I operate in it. As it turns out, there's a pattern. As it turns out, all the great and inspiring leaders and organizations in the world, whether it's Apple or Martin Luther King or the Wright brothers, they all think, act, and communicate the exact same way, and it's the complete opposite to everyone else. All I did was codify it. And it's probably the world's simplest idea. I call it the golden circle. Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. The status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one?
All right. Oh yeah, I think I know what happened. I tried to mute myself so you can hear my typing in the chat box. I'm gonna restart the video, okay, guys? Let me just do this again. So that way, so we're gonna start it over. Do you guys want to see it again? If not, there is going to be there's a link in the materials section. Also, you're going to get a link through email after our live lecture is over. This is also in your reading information. I don't mind watching it again. It's a short video. Let's do that. You guys cool with that? Okay. Let's play it again. Unfortunately, I can't expand the video. I tried. I think it's because I had to shorten the video through this tube chop. So, all right, let me see. Now, actually, what I can do probably is expand the. Give me a second. I'm gonna try to widen the screen at least. Okay, let's try that.
As it turns out, there's a pattern. As it turns out, all the great and inspiring leaders and organizations in the world, whether it's Apple or Martin Luther King or the Wright brothers, they all think, act, and communicate the exact same way, and it's the complete opposite to everyone else. All I did was codify it. And it's probably the world's simplest idea. I call it the golden circle. Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done. That's how most sales is done. And that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do. We say how we're different or how we better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We have, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one?
All right. All right, let me go back to our previous slide. Okay. Did you guys see the slide again? It should say golden circle, why statement. Awesome. All right, so when, another good way, when you guys eventually, when you graduate and you're looking for your dream job, it's also remember your why statement when you go to your, to interviews, because I think that that's a great way to also not just tell people about like, oh, I'm good at this and this and this, but also, I think like Simon Sinek said, you can really show what your when you show them your purpose. Right. So when we talked about purpose last week, some of you guys, came out with your purpose right away, and some of you may have struggled in identifying what your purpose is, and that's okay. You weren't really too sure maybe why you do what you do. So now and that's why we started with values today. And sometimes starting with what is important to you can really help you narrow down your why statement. So let's go back to your core values. What do you do? What's important to you? And I'll give you a few minutes to kind of think about that. My bucket list. To achieve my dreams, James said. My bucket list. What are a couple things on your bucket list, James? And while you're thinking about your why statement, I'm going to tell you about mine. So people might be wondering, why do I teach? Well, I teach because I believe that everyone has limitless potential. I believe that deep down, everyone has the capability to do good. Everyone has the capability of achieving their dreams academically, professionally, if they work hard enough and persevere. I believe that everyone has the capability of achieving their personal dreams, of having a family and personal happiness, if they're able to be really true to themselves, express gratitude, and maintain optimism. I believe that teaching is the way that I can help people get closer towards their goals by showing them the right tools and helping them adopt the right mindset. Why do I teach psychology? I teach psychology because it reminds me that I'm not perfect, that I'm also not without my flaws, that I also still have a lot to learn. I teach because I do learn from each of you every month. When I teach on all the different concepts and topics you learn throughout the class, I'm also reminded of what I still have to learn and to improve upon. I teach play because I forget to play. Just like all of you, I get caught up in my day-to-day stresses and I forget to enjoy the moment a lot of times. Um, and a lot of times that moment is with my kids, you know, that I miss out because I'm so stressed out about other things. So sometimes I need a daily reminder of what is important. And knowing my why statement helps me, keeps me in track. So I don't get tunnel vision and forget the goals that I'm trying to achieve. You know, it's easy to get caught up with just grading assignments all the time, but I really want to make a difference, you know, and really help you guys and steer you guys in the right path because I love seeing you guys achieve your goals. You know, when I've gone to graduation and seeing the students there and you know that makes me feel like I helped you with that, and that means a lot to me. So it's just everyday challenge to practice the same tools that I share with all of you, and that's my why statement. And let's see, let me read some of yours. Brittany said to build a better foundation for my future and family than what was laid out for me. Ellen said to spread love and help all the people that I can. Alexander said to further my education and get a good career. Wendy said my dreams, it's my goal, my why for my dreams to come true. Edgar said to go to Dubai. Cool. Why Dubai, Edgar? James said to be game design. Oh, these are on his bucket list. Game designer, skydive, and to impact as many people as possible. Edgar said to impact my Houston community through my faith. Oh, thanks, Edgar. Ah. All right. So good. And you know, it's okay if you didn't come up or you don't know it still. Take time. You know, I honestly, when I was in college, I probably couldn't tell you my why statement. This is things that, you know, as I've gotten older, that I really thought about. Edgar said it looks great over there. From the pictures I've seen, yeah, it does. It's somewhere I would love to visit one day, actually. So I actually have family over there. A couple cousins that work there and live there. They have a they have a hotel underwater. They have lots of neat things to see there. They had Japan too. I haven't been to Japan yet either. All right. So any questions before we move on? Anybody else have anything else to say about the why statement and the golden circle? Ireland. Yes, that'd be nice too. Another one that I haven't been to. I would visit every country if I could. Honduras. Yes. So hopefully, guys, you know, all one day you can visit all these places. All right, let's move on. So even if we know our values and purpose in life, it's not always going to be easy, you know, to work towards them. Sometimes along our journey, we encounter stressful situations that might lead into self-defeating thoughts, especially when the going gets tough, right? When things are really hard, it's easy to kind of just start negative things. And I mentioned in the beginning, stress is driven largely by our own perceptions. And usually these perceptions involve us thinking that something is unfair, out of our control, or that it's stopping us from attaining our goals. When he said, you can barely hear me? Weird. I haven't touched anything, so I know sometimes. Can you guys hear me okay? Maybe I just need to speak louder. Okay. So the basic premise of Albert Ellis's ABCDE model is that our emotions and behavior is not directly affected by the external event. Rather, it's the way that we perceive and process these events. So we need to change the way that we think about the life events that are causing us the stress. The ABCDE model is helpful in those moments when our perceptions aren't benefiting us in a positive way. This model allows us to take ownership of our thoughts, feelings, and reactions. No one can make us feel, well, something, or think something. I mean, these are things that we can change and that we are accountable for. So we need to change the way that we think about life events. And this is really an important skill to build in life because life happens and things always happen. And we can't let that get us down or distract us from our goals. So, and it's kind of like anything else. The more that we practice it, the better we get at it. And by the way, we all have negative self-talk. Some people might have it a little bit more than others, but we all have times that we do it. Even the most optimistic person can have negative self-thought. It just depends on the situation. So we're going to go over what the different letters mean in the ABCDE model. So A is for activating event, and this is the bad event, right? This is the problem or the situation that happened. So just ask what happened. The next one is belief system. What are our automatic thoughts after the bad event or problem or situation? What did we think right away when it happened? C is for emotional consequence. This is what occurred because of our self-talk. It may be anger, sadness, guilt, or frustration. A lot of times these are wrapped up in our automatic beliefs that we have, adopted over time because of our experiences. What are the usual or things that we've observed? What are the usual consequences of this type of negative self-talk? How does this belief influence what you're going to do next regarding the situation? And like I already said, no one has the power to make you feel what you feel. Just like you cannot control any other person, how they feel. You feel the way you feel because of your belief system. We feel the way we feel because of our belief system. And then D is for dispute thinking. This is where we challenge the irrational beliefs or our negative thoughts. How accurate is this belief? Are there any other possible options in the situation? And is it changeable? And then lastly, E, is for new effect. And this is the outcome after you have disputed the negative thoughts. How did you feel? What are the new emotions that you're feeling? And the positive effects of switching the way that you're thinking about the situation. And can you let it go now and move on, move forward? And James said he's an optimist, and when negative thoughts enter, it can really hit hard. I'm with you, James, and I think that's kind of like, I'm almost, because we're so used to, I consider myself an optimist too, generally. And I think it hits us really hard because we're just not used to thinking that way. And so when we do start to, like it's easy to really just get caught up in it, you know. And Wendy said that she has an emotional support dog that really helps her. Good. You know, any support that we can get. And pets are a great, really a great way. They give us unconditional love. Right. Okay. So so we're going to go over an example of the ABCDE model. So the acting event would be, an example would be, I got a flat tire on my way to work. Now what? Uh-oh, panic. So first thing you might think is like, this kind of thing always happens to me. Why me? Why does this always happen to me? An emotional consequence could be, well, now I'm going to be late for work. You start to panic. You start to freak out. My boss is going to be mad and he's going to fire me. And then you start, you know, when you come down, hopefully, you can come down and you can start thinking, well, this doesn't always happen to me, right? I can't even remember the last time I had a flat tire. I'll be late to work, but my boss is a pretty reasonable person and I've been a good employee, so I think I'll be okay. And then so once you go through that and you've disputed your panic thinking, you feel more relieved, you feel more positive about the situation. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so we'll go through one together, just as practice. So the acting event that I think you can all may have experienced or may have experienced in the past, or may experience in the future is I got a bad grade on my assignment. I know this happened to me too. So what's the automatic belief system that you have after getting a bad grade on your assignment, or what could be? That you'll fail the class? Exactly. That's the automatic thought, right? I'm gonna fail the class. Right? That maybe you're not cut out to be in school. You're not smart enough. And maybe everyone who told you you can't do it is right. And then, so how do you feel thinking all of these negative thoughts? Edgar said you feel like a failure. Yeah. Not smart enough. Depressed. Yep. Not worth anything. Yeah, it's not true. You feel like you can't do anything right. You feel sad. You're frustrated. Start thinking, I'm going to fail this class. I'm not going to graduate. I'm never going to be, you know, whatever it is that you hope to be. Yeah, all of the above. Exactly, James. Oops. Ah. All right. So how do you change your thoughts? How can you change the way that you automatically believe because of the bad situation? Reroute your brain. Yeah, how do you reroute your brain, James? What can you start telling yourself instead of saying, I'm not smart enough, I'm not going to graduate, I'm not going to pass the class? What can you start saying to yourself? David said, it's just a road bump. Yes. Edgar said, look at the glass half full. How do you look at it half full? Edgar, I can learn from the bad grade and ask for help. Yes. Alan said, one bad grade is not going to make me fail and I might be able to do extra credit. Yes. And James said, when I hit that point, my wife pulls me out. That's wonderful, James. That's good that she's there to help you with that. That's really good. James said she reminds him of his kids and his successes and the lessons that he's learned. Edgar said, look for ways to improve. Yes. And Wendy said, look what God has given us. We have roof over our head, food on the table. Yeah, you have all the good things. So it's not the end of the world. Remember what to be thankful for. So what you could think, okay, it's just one assignment. You've done well in assignments before, and you could do better on the rest. Start asking yourself, how can I do it better? Like some of you have said. So you can maybe think for the next assignment, I'm going to give myself more time to complete it and work 2 to 3 days ahead. I'm going to read the instructions carefully. And if I don't understand it, ask my teacher for help. All right. So how do you feel after that, after rerouting your brain and changing, getting out of that distorted thinking? Yeah, Wendy said to get your working on the deadline. Yes. Edgar said, relieved, calmer, James said. Joy, yes. Wendy said, feel so much better. Exactly. So you came up with a plan. You're like, okay, this happened. It's not the end of the world. What can I do differently for next time? Alan, great. You feel more motivated. Excellent. Yes. Good, guys. So again, so you might feel more positive, definitely more positive emotions, more hopeful. Oops, sorry guys. And more in control, right? Really, that's a big thing. You're feeling like you're more in control. You have a plan on what you can do differently. So again, this is something that you could practice on a daily basis by doing this activity at the end of each day. And ask yourself, what went wrong today? And then walk yourself through the steps, And the more you practice this in situations that maybe aren't as important to you, the more you're likely to use it for when bigger things happen, when more distressful things happen. And by reducing your distorted thinking, the ABCDE model has been shown to really help bring down some depression, some anxiety, and has, as a result, really helps improve your self-esteem and your of hopefulness about the future. Edgar said, in a Hispanic household, a bad grade is the end of the world. Edgar, I know. I'm Asian. It's the same. It's like, oh, you got a B. That's not good enough. And I gotta watch myself that too. And my husband reminds me all the time because I'm the same way with my oldest. He's in 7th grade, and he's a really good student. You know, he gets mostly, he gets A's, and sometimes he'll tell us, "Oh, I didn't do good on my test." I'm like, "What do you mean you didn't do good on the test? What grade did you get?" And he's like, "Oh, I got an 88." I'm like, "What?" You know, and I got to remind myself. And my husband's like, "Chill. It's not." You know, did he, and my husband is always good at reframing it. Did he, you know, did you learn something? What did you do wrong? Can you do something different next time? And you know, it's good because again, our experiences with that, you know, is my experience when I was a kid, and my parents telling me, you know, conditioning me to think that anything less than an A is not good enough is, you know, has followed me as a parent. All right. So once stress is present, how do you handle it? What are some other things you can do to relieve your stress? What can you do to ensure that stress does not become pervasive, like long, that's lasting you a long time, that's lasting a long time and impacting a lot of different parts of your life? Remember, stress brains do not learn effectively. So also chronic stress causes anxiety, depression, anger, and sleeplessness, insomnia. So what can you do, or how do you guys manage your stress? Hope for the best, prepare for the worst, Ellen said. Okay. Yes, I actually go through that. That's how I like to prepare. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Things happen. Things you know you don't even think of sometimes. Edgar said prayer helps him deal with stress. Wendy said to write in your diary on a piece of paper and then burn it so you feel much better. So that's really good. That's like almost like you're physically kind of like letting it go. Edgar said prayer, praying. Okay. Anything else? Anybody else? What do you guys do to help you feel less stressed or manage your stress? Talk about it. Yeah, sometimes you know, sometimes just talking about a situation with somebody just helps you process it. And it, you know, you may not come up with a right solution, or even while you're talking about it, while you're processing it, a solution comes up for you. Great. Austin said, talk out loud with yourself and get rid of all the bad energy. Yes, good. Austin, I can relate to that, especially when I'm in my car by myself. I'm rarely alone. I'm with 3 kids. I'm rarely alone, and I'm rarely alone in my car. But I remember moments when I do, and I'm just thinking about things. And sometimes I talk to myself, and um, especially when I'm dealing with a problem or a stressful situation. Alexander said, and Edgar both said music. Alexander said, listen to music and explore open world video games like Zelda Breath of the Wild, and that helps him relax. Good. James, sometimes I have to scream, yes, yes. just lets all that pent up emotion out. I agree. Sometimes you just have to scream or just cry and just let it out. It's like emotional catharsis. Alice said positive self-talk. Wendy said call on God to help you through it. And James says James likes music, listens to music too. Chopin. So you like classical music or just Chopin in general to help you de-stress. All right. Yeah, James said it helps calm him down. David said play a game with my kids. That's a great one, David. Yes. All right, we're going to talk about all of these. You guys have some great ways to help you relieve some stress. So practice mindfulness is one method to help you alleviate some stress. It's very similar to meditation in that it helps clear your mind of clutter so you can focus on the present moment. Being mindful does not mean shutting your mind from the world. So instead of blocking thoughts and feelings from happening, you could choose instead to recognize them, accept them, and then let them go. Kind of like what Wendy said she does. She writes it down. So she's like, I own this. This is, how I'm feeling. This is what happened. And I'm just going to let it go. And through this process, we can learn to improve our ability to focus on one thing at a time. Yoga. Yes. Do you guys do yoga? Anybody else do yoga or meditate? I have to be honest, I'm not a good meditator. I don't do well with meditation, but just being mindful though, and being just in the moment and just feeling what you're feeling at that particular moment. You could do, you don't necessarily have to do yoga, you don't necessarily have to meditate, but yoga and meditation just and mindfulness just kind of goes hand in hand. Okay. Alan said guided meditation. So having somebody kind of talk to you through it, or listening to something, walking you through the meditation process. Yeah. All right. The next thing you can do, exercise regularly. Exercising regularly is one of the best ways, that we can relieve stress. And that improves our health, raises our energy level, and encourages positive mindset. And you don't have to go to the gym for an hour or run for an hour for exercise to be effective. Studies have shown that even 30 minutes of walking is a great way to ease tension physically, especially walking outside really is helpful if you like nature. Also, like, it doesn't have to be the same type of exercise all the time, variety is good. And so do any of you guys exercise regularly? Oh, when it says burn incense. Healthy body, healthy mind, right? I believe that, Ellen. Wendy says she loves to hike. Edgar says he likes to walk at the park and he would like to vary it up, just change it up. Sometimes, right now I'm not walking a lot, but I've had periods where I walk a lot, like almost daily, and I get tired of the same route, seeing the same things, and it's good to kind of change your route sometimes, and so and changing a route can actually like open up your mind to other possibilities too. Alexander said, I walk the dog Used to do We Fit daily until his Nintendo broke. Camping. Oh yeah, camping's a good one. Yeah, Edgar, change up your route. I have my route that I'm comfortable with just because it's like if I know like okay, I wanna walk this much, I know how much to do, and it kind of gives me a circular route, so I end up at home even though without backtracking, but so I get bored with it. All right. So next one, and it's getting enough sleep. And it's really, really important to managing stress. Keep in mind, not everybody needs the same amount of sleep. Like I need at least 8 hours, so I don't feel tired during the day. If I get less than that, it's guaranteed I'm gonna get tired like immediately after lunch. And getting enough sleep allows us to be more alert, to have enough energy throughout the day, and maximizes our peak performance time. Okay, and I think it was James that says you need to scream, and I added that like yeah, sometimes crying just lets all that emotion, pent up feelings and emotions out. Laughing is another great way. Laughter is the best medicine. I know you guys have heard that, and it's true. Um, just like crying and just like screaming out loud, it gives us an emotional release, a catharsis, and all that tension that we have built up from stress and can be alleviated through laughing. And laughing with, you know, watching a funny movie by yourself or being around people that make you laugh and make you happy and give you joy. Enjoying time with friends and loved ones. Laughing is very good to relieve stress. I'm sorry, Amanda. Amanda said she ended up sleeping 13 hours 2 nights ago because she's been ill. But you probably really needed that sleep. Did you feel better? James, I think Mary Poppins, yes. Did I remind you of Mary Poppins last week, James? You probably don't think of Mary Poppins that often. Alexander said that laughing 10 to 15 minutes is supposed to burn 10 to 40 calories a day. Oh, James said, I love to laugh some. I don't remember. That's not. Well, I hope you feel better, Amanda. She's still a little sick. Um, Unplugging occasionally. Sometimes disconnecting from all our devices can really help relieve stress. Our brain needs a break from screen time sometimes. I mean, we tell this to those of you who have kids, you know how addicted your kids are probably be. I know my kids are addicted to screen time. And, I tell them all the time that they need a break from it and go play with their toys or go play outside. And I got to remind myself of this. Because I'm always in front of a screen. But it gives us the opportunity to be in the moment, especially if you've chosen to participate in a play activity with loved ones and friends. I can't remember who said recently, was it Alan? Alan, was it you who said you like to play with your kids? Um, when you're feeling so stressed, it helps relieve your stress. Oh, David. Thank you, David. Yes, David said he likes to play with his kids, and I think that's great. And it made me automatically think about, unplugging from your electronic devices. Um, you know, not being distracted by your phone or by a tablet or by TV can really help you connect with other people because you don't have any distractions. So think about, when was the last time you guys were doing something and you didn't look at your phone for at least an hour while you were doing the activity? And what was that like? Alan said it helps with mindfulness. Absolutely. David, that's great. David said he plays a game of soccer with his kids and it helps, makes him remember what he worked so hard for. The dishes, which is boring. I hate doing this. Yeah, me too. And I have to say, I'm not unplugged when I wash dishes. I watch TV. It helps make the task, the chore, a little bit more palatable. Walking the trains, I turn my cell phone off. Good, yeah. Wendy said, visiting with friends, just talking things out and forgetting about my phone for a while. Great, yeah. And it really, it helps you be in the moment and really improves your relationship with your friends. Amanda, too, you play music while you do your dishes. Yeah, whatever helps pass the time. And doing those chores that you have to do. Alan said getting out of the house helps him unplug. Edgar said hanging out with friends and family now, it's difficult to even have dinner and spend time because of how plugged we are. Yeah, everyone's busy looking at their phones or picking up their phones, when you're out sometimes. You know, one of the, probably in the past, I would say maybe a year and a half or the past 2 years, that an activity that I used to do a lot when I was a kid with my family, and then I hadn't done in many, many years, and then the past 2 years just started doing again, was going to the park and having a picnic. And I actually love it now, and I enjoyed going to the park and having a picnic with my family because I found that when we did that, we all aren't on our phones and we actually play games. We bring our badminton set and we play badminton and just kind of hang out and walk around the park, and it's been a really good activity for us to do together. Alexander said, walking the dog, rule is no phone in hand when walking the dog so we can steer the dog in the right direction. Yes, otherwise your dog is steering you. And then you probably don't even notice where he's going. When Wendy said, electrons are addictive, but I have to remember I just need my time away from them. Yep. All right. And lastly, don't procrastinate. Procrastination only creates more stress. Yes, sometimes stress can be good in that it can churn your creative juices, but not when you're constantly stressed. So don't add more stress by procrastinating, especially in your classes here at Full Sail. They're so short, they're only a month long, that if you procrastinate, you're already behind. So, and you'll just get more and more stressed and overwhelmed. So if you're like me, when you're overwhelmed and you tend to be more forgetful, use those organizational tools, like the weekly plan, to help manage your time better and to help you prioritize. That's good, James. All right. So we're almost done. I'm gonna wrap up the session with a video. Let me see, I gotta switch screens. Okay, give me a second, guys. And we're gonna watch this video.
A few years ago, I felt like I was stuck in a rut. So I decided to follow in the footsteps of the great American philosopher, Morgan Spurlock, and try something new for 30 days. The idea is actually pretty simple. Think about something you've always wanted to add to your life and try it for the next 30 days. It turns out 30 days is just about the right amount of time to add a new habit or subtract a habit, like watching the news, from your life. There's a few things that I learned while doing these 30-day challenges. The first was, instead of the months flying by forgotten, the time was much more memorable. This was part of a challenge I did to take a picture every day for a month, and I remember exactly where I was and what I was doing that day. I also noticed that as I started to do more and harder 30-day challenges, my self-confidence grew. I went from desk-dwelling computer nerd to the kind of guy who bikes to work for fun. Even last year, I ended up hiking up Mount Kilimanjaro, the highest mountain in Africa. I would never have been that adventurous before I started my 30-day challenges. I also figured out that if you really want something badly enough, you can do anything for 30 days. Have you ever wanted to write a novel? Every November, tens of thousands of people try to write their own 50,000-word novel from scratch in 30 days. It turns out all you have to do is write 1,667 words a day for a month. So I did. By the way, the secret is not to go to sleep until you've written your words for the day. You might be sleep deprived, but you'll finish your novel. Now, is my book the next great American novel? No, I wrote it in a month. It's awful. But for the rest of my life, if I meet John Hodgman at a TED party, I don't have to say, I'm a computer scientist. No, if I want to, I can say, I'm a novelist. So here's one last thing I'd like to mention. I learned that when I made small, sustainable changes, things I could keep doing, they were more likely to stick. There's nothing wrong with big, crazy challenges. In fact, they're a ton of fun, but they're less likely to stick. When I gave up sugar for 30 days, day 31 looked like this. So here's my question to you. What are you waiting for? I guarantee you the next 30 days are going to pass whether you like it or not. So why not think about something you have always wanted to try and give it a shot for the next 30 days? Thanks.
All right. So like Matt Cutts said, 30 days is just enough time to make a habit. Each week, each of you had the opportunity to complete the weekly plan quest. Who has done it? Who's done the weekly plan quest? Me. I know a few of you in my class. Who's done it for more than 1 week? Edgar said he hasn't yet. Me. Okay, so a lot of you have done it more than 1 week. And who's done it pretty much the whole month and is planning to do it again this week? Edgar said me. Alexander said me. Well, you created a habit. And I hope that part of the reason why you continue to do it was because you were seeing benefits from doing it, and that you continue to do it even after the end of this class. Also, the small sustainable changes that he talked about that keep you going, it helps keep you going and it's more likely to stick. This is also a good challenge for yourself to really push yourself in this last week to try something new. You know, you could even try one of your, if you decide if you're going to do the weekly plan this week again, and you decide one of your push activities can also be to try to reframe your negative self-talk or practice the ABCDE model. That's a good one too. So I'm actually gonna try something new this next month. He talked about the National Novel Writing Month. I think I've had some student mention it to me, so I know that they've heard of it before. Have you guys heard of the National Novel Writing Month? I think I'm gonna try that. I've always wanted to write a novel, a romance novel, so I'm gonna do it. Anyone else gonna do it this next month? Nope, no one? Amanda said she tried to do it once. James said he's gonna do that. Cool. Alexander said he's been writing a book since 10th grade. That's awesome. Edgar said he's trying a poem for this week. Does that count? It's a start. Maybe you want to write a poem every day or a poem a week. James said that he's in the middle of a novel and help him brainstorm if anything else. Yes, that's a good way to look at it. All right. So overall, our goal and the bigger lesson of the month is that I hope that you're walking away from the course with ways to incorporate and apply all that play has to offer. Play is more than just fun activities, right? It's fun, but it's more than that. It's also having a different mindset, a play mindset that allows you to find balance in your lives. It also allows us to follow our purpose, find our passions, and live in the moment. And hopefully all of you will continue to use play as a catalyst to help you continue to make positive changes after this course. We have a little bit of time. Do you guys want me to go over the quest, the 4-week quest? A week 4 quest. If you all need to go, you can go. But yeah, let me go pull that up. Give me a second. Oops, that's not what I wanted. All right. So, all right. So you've got 5 choices this week, but you only have to pick 2, like in previous weeks. And your choices are mindfulness, weekly plan, self-compassion, organization tools, and self-care. In the mindfulness quest, you're going to complete exercise 3.3, work in progress, wake up to confidence, and that's found in the Safari book. There's going to be a link to it in your discussion. So if you choose quest 1, just click on the link. You're going to have to complete that section of the Safari book. And for your deliverable, you're going to write a short story, a poem, or a song about your perfect day. For quest 2, as like it's been every week, is the weekly plan. So you guys should know how to do that. Quest 3 is the self-compassion quest, and you're going to complete the self-assessment. There's a self-assessment in the Safari book, section 3.9, exercise 3.9, work in progress, noticing self-compassion in your work. And for this quest, we want you to try to explore and try other ways. For this quest, we want you to complete this self-assessment twice before you do your write-up on it. And I would suggest doing it at the end of 2 different days. And then you're going to create a word cloud of your positive traits. Do you guys know what a word cloud is? No. Okay, let me see if I can pull. Word cloud. So these are word clouds. And I want you to think about, and you could go back to your to your reading about when your signature strengths reading, and try to remember all the positive characteristics that you have, and then create a word cloud. And there are word cloud generators that you can find for free online. So you can do it by hand. I had a student a few months ago that did really, really great, kind of like font styles by hand. So you could do it by hand if that's something that you like. Or you can use one of the word cloud generators online. Okay. And then the fourth quest is organization tools. And this is something, basically we want you to find other methods that is going to help you manage your time and prioritize your tasks. Find different ways, not just you can't do the weekly plan and turn this in for this quest, for quest 4. You could do both quest 2 and quest 4, but if you choose to do quest 4, you're going to have to use a different method, such as a different type of calendar, maybe just to compare. Maybe you want to compare, maybe the work, play, fit, push plan is not really your thing and you've just been doing it, but maybe you want to change it and do a different type of calendar. That's great. To-do lists is another example of an organization tool. And there's also free apps that you can probably use from Android or your Apple store. Okay. And then for your creative deliverable for quest 4, you just need to take a screenshot or submit a copy of one of your week planned out using your new organizational tool. And then the last quest is self-care. So you're going to reflect on ways that you can keep practicing self-care after this class. And you're going to write a letter to your future self, reminding yourself about what you learned in the class this past month. And we know that your letters can be very personal, so you don't have to share your whole letter with the class unless you want to. But if you don't want to, you can just share a brief summary of your letter as your deliverable. Okay. All right. We had a question. What link, Wendy? Could you please put the link? Are you talking about the word cloud link or? All right. So any questions, guys? I know I kind of just went over it pretty quickly. The mindfulness 3.3 practice is to be completed by answering the questions. Yes. Sure, David. Just stay online until after everybody leaves, okay? All right. And I can go through this. Let me see. Let me pull it up. Yeah, so you just kind of go through this. Through the questionnaire. It's just all reflection questions. For the week, for the quest, I think it was, sorry, I can't remember all the quests all the time. The quest 3, there's another, we want you to go through this assessment, 3.9 assessment twice. We want you to do it twice. Sorry, guys. And then do your write-up on it, your discussion prompt questions. Okay. All right. Any other questions? No other questions? All right. Well, that's all I have for you guys today. Oh, don't forget your 4.2 call to play activities due tonight. Bye, Alexander. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye, Edgar. I messed up.